I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
The wrestling life.
Hey everybody, it's The Wrestling Life. It's episode 398. It's our Royal Rumble preview show for 2025. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Liam.
Liam, we really do have so much to talk about this week.
And so many things we can't talk about on the first and only wrestling podcast.
You know, not a ton to discuss this week. Just a Royal Rumble. I don't know why my voice is cracking like that, but AEW kind of punted this week. And WWE is on the road to Royal Rumble, and Monday Night Raw is one of the most boring shows I've ever seen in my entire life this week. You can preview the Royal Rumble here in a second for the happy talk portion of the program. Big birthday plans? It's your birthday of all days.
Well, I'm picking up the keys for my new apartment in the afternoon.
God bless.
And then my one buddy is gonna, I think, help me move a few small things.
Mhm.
It's gonna be a lengthy process. It's gonna involve picking up furniture from various locations across the state of Maryland. So
Sure.
So I can't actually I won't be fully living in it for probably at least another week or so, but we're getting the ball rolling started there. So what better way as a fresh-faced 32-year-old man?
Good times. Hey, just moving from one place to another place. We don't have to make it any bigger than that.
Exactly.
God bless. Yeah, so that's what's going on your birthday weekend. It's also as we record this on Thursday night, Becky Lynch's 38th birthday. Happy birthday to Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
It was last Sunday was Mercedes Moné's 33rd birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and Layla Gray's birthday as well. So I think that was last Saturday. So as you said off the air, the four horsewomen.
The four horsewomen, myself, Layla Gray, the four baddies, me,
Yes.
Layla Gray, Mercedes, and Becky.
So happy birthday to all you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Royal Rumble. We have a men's Rumble match, we have a women's Rumble match, we have a ladder match, and we have a tag team title match that's 2 out of 3 falls for some reason.
Gotta kill some time, brother.
Yep. SmackDown was the worst 3-hour SmackDown since they moved to 3 hours last Friday. And all they really did was set up for the Royal Rumble. They set up DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag titles. DIY are heels for some reason, and the Motor City Machine Guns are they look like they should be in Green Day or Fall Out Boy. It's very funny that they've kept their gimmick. I mean, as well they should. It's just it would be like changing the Hardy Boys at this point. But it's also it's very funny to see 45-year-old men dressed like that. But Motor City Machine Guns against DIY for the tag titles, 2 out of 3 falls. Any thoughts on SmackDown in general? The tag team division, DIY is heels, the Motor City Machine Guns, things of that nature.
I mean, it's the same thing I always say when we talk about the Dire Raw tag division, which is why are there 2 sets of belts? Especially as we've talked about lately, people just go to whatever show they want. The brand split is 80% dead, I would say at this point.
Yeah.
So why did we bother introducing other than to sell more replicas on Shop Zone? I don't know why we needed two sets of tag belts when each division has about 3.5 teams in them.
Yeah, I mean, they have the women's tag champs wrestle on every brand. Why don't we just do that? Yeah. This was further illustrated, by the way, on Raw on Monday when the War Raiders defended against the little fella with the big head, the kid with the big head, big square head,
Mm-hmm.
and Dirty Dom from the Judgment Day. McDonough, JD McDonough from the Judgment Day. His gimmick is that he's 5'1" and 112 pounds, and he's a strong style guy. He hits you really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But also he broke his ribs and punctured his lung doing an acai moonsault in this match. Somebody I'd like to sit down and just have a talk with, Say, what are you doing, man? But yeah, there's two tag teams basically on, or three tag teams on Raw. It's the War Raiders, it's the Judgment Day, and then it's the newly turned heel New Day, who Rey Mysterio has beaten by himself. This is
Ah,
the this is the Booker of the Year.
yeah, this is what a dire year for booking that this guy is winning all these awards. Um, yeah, it's dire on both shows. It would still be dire if this was one division
Oh yeah.
crossing over. It is extremely dire when you split an already weak division into two like they have.
Speaking of, last week's SmackDown, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven wrestled B-Fab and Meechin,
Oof.
and I missed the match. But I saw Chelsea Green posting on social media on the For You tab or whatever because I don't follow her because I don't need that kind of crazy in my life. But she was like, she got roughed up.
Hmm?
She had like a black eye and a fat lip and abrasions and marks all over her face. Who knew that Mia Yim and BFAB were, you know, could go teach at the New Japan Dojo? I don't know.
Well, I mean, she's wrestled Mia like 400 times and that's never happened. So I have to assume it's maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of assumed it was a BFAB special there. But yeah,
I don't know.
they should send her down to the performance center and teach people how to throw strikes, I guess.
I guess so. Dire though.
Her and Shane
Ugh.
to
Yeah.
teach striking.
Potatoes. Yeah.
Yeah, bad looking punches that actually hurt the person. The Shane McMahon special.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the whole SmackDown division currently. Other than Tiffany, who's the champion, who doesn't really have many challengers lined up for her to wrestle.
Oh, they had her beat Bailey right away, and then they moved Bailey to the other show, and now Bailey's wrestling for the NXT title. So I don't know.
They did like 9 months of her and Naya together. She turns on Naya, and then they didn't feud.
Yeah, just no rematch. No, I don't know. Maybe they'll address it. Maybe they won't.
I mean, we got 86 shows between now and Mania, so maybe on one premium live event, we will get that match somewhere.
Yeah, Mania is like 3 weeks later this year, so we got that. We got that too. Great. So DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, this is four dads feuding for the tag titles. That's fine. Like whatever, man. It's Motor City Machine Guns have had good matches, and maybe wrestling TV matches for WWE is the best thing for them at this stage.
Sure.
So cool.
Yeah, I worry how much fan attention
Oh yeah.
2 out of 3 falls match between these guys is going to have in a big stadium.
Yep.
But when people are there to see the two rumbles, really I would say the one rumble, but the two rumbles, um, I don't love their chances if they're going to go long, which being 2 out of 3 falls, you would expect this to go potentially like 25-30 minutes, and that seems like a long time for these guys to be in the ring in front of a crowd that is disinterested in them.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. Ladder match for the undisputed title at Royal Rumble is Cody Rhodes against Kevin Owens. So they did Saturday night main event this past weekend, and they had Shawn Michaels hit Sweet Chin music on Kevin Owens and lay him out. Do you have a problem with that? The internet seemed to hate it.
Well, I guess I was fascinated because I guess Sean's opinion on doing a job in your hometown has changed since
Mm,
1997 when he
mm,
insisted on beating Davy Boy for the European title.
hmm
I guess we don't do that anymore. We want to send the fans home happy. So Sean had to stand tall.
hmm
I don't know, man. I wouldn't have done that. I thought Sean should have gone through the table, especially because unless Kevin is winning the belt, which I don't think he is, and even then, was he going to feud with Shawn Michaels after this? So Yeah, it did not make it made Kevin look pretty he's been like this violent killer for several months, and then he got laid out by a 60-year-old man. And Cody, I mean Cody helped it, but it was like the the point was about Sean. Sean's music played at the end of at the end of the segment. Like
Sure did.
it was that segment was about getting Shawn Michaels over, not Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. So I unless, somewhere along the lines Kevin Owens is going to like get his revenge and brutalize Shawn on his way to whoever he is going to face at Mania. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was weak sauce.
Can can we get Sean a hat?
Well, he had one. It fell off.
Can we get him a real cowboy hat? I I don't know what these fancy he's trying to wear like GQ cowboy hats.
Yes.
And it's like there's actually an actual GQ cowboy hat would be a real cowboy hat,
Yes.
not one of those things. Ugh.
Stylist dress cowboy hat.
Yeah, I wanted to wear a big goofy gray cowboy hat like on Landman, this right winger Billy Bob Thornton show. I got thoughts about that too. I finished that. It's really it if you like smoking, 10 out of 10 show.
Is that the
Um
show that Jerry Jones is on as himself and he has like a whole monologue?
and it made me cry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Jerry Jones is like a really effing good actor, as it turns out.
How about that?
Apparently the trick is that he it was just him telling a story from his life and they just happened to film it.
Wow.
Um
Love when that happens.
or it's that or that they basically wrote him a version of a story that he tells in his life about how his life turned out.
Mm-hmm.
But hey man, he turned the emotion on. It was great. Anyway, that show is like 80% Billy Bob Thornton with like blood and scuffs on his face, wearing a cowboy hat, smoking cigarettes.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I give it like a 6.5 out of 10. It's pretty good. Yeah, let's get Shawn Michaels a cowboy hat, and I mean Cody Rhodes and John Cena. I think is the WrestleMania match, so I don't think Kevin Owens is winning the title here unless we are doing something else. So, or unless we are telling stories in on the Elimination Chamber and John Cena's last time in Toronto. I don't know. What do you think, Cody?
I mean, I assume it's Cody because Cody losing it at all before WrestleMania seems like a crazy thing to do. But
Sure does.
But I mean, look, if you want to really fantasy book it, if you're trying to convince yourself that Kevin Owens could win, sure, you could do Cody versus Cena at Mania, and it doesn't have to be for the belt, and Cena could challenge for the belt later in the year. He's here through December, so you don't have to blow off the him going for the championship story. Unless he's going to go for it like numerous times throughout the year and lose the first time. But um, yeah, I don't know. I've always the simplest path would seem to be just Cody keeps winning and he's the champion, and then John either wins the Rumble or he wins the Chamber. They have really heavily promoted like the whole ad campaign for the Elimination Show in Toronto is it's John Cena's last show here. So
Yeah,
feels like maybe John wins the Elimination Chamber to get the title shot at Cody, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see, but I think it's extremely unlikely that Kevin Owens is winning the title, which brings me back to why is a 60-year-old man laying him out on TV leading up to it? But hey,
Yeah. There's a women's Royal Rumble match scheduled for this show. Nia Jax, who's declared for the match several times. Bailey, something similar. Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile, Io Sky. I People say Raquel Rodriguez is declared. I don't know, man. There's 8 different lists on the internet of people who declared, and they all are different because they're not, and no one's really very good at paying attention to things, and also WWE is not very good at clarifying things. And on WWE's own website, they list like half the people that are listed on Wikipedia. So God only knows. But it really doesn't matter because you think you know who's winning the women's Royal Rumble, and really 29 women shouldn't bother showing up.
Yeah, it's Charlotte. I'm pretty sure. Well, one,
There you go.
nobody remembers that she's won one already because it was she challenged for the NXT belt on the COVID Mania.
Yeah,
I mean, that Rumble was in front of people, but that's not people don't remember that she won. So you can do it again.
right.
I just wanted to read this tweet from WrestleVotes.
Mm,
Um, uh, you know, at one point was a pretty reliable Twitter account for like breaking some news, and now mostly seems to tweet out direct verbiage from WWE's PR department, in
sure.
my opinion. But anyway, I just wanted to share this tweet. With Charlotte Flair set to return this weekend, a source says her presentation will fully embrace her Flair family legacy with a quote unquote top girl attitude and Flair, FLARE, to her character. There's also talk of championship gold coming her way sooner rather than later. Now, I have two thoughts. One, no duh. Of course, she's winning the belt. It's Charlotte. She's always on her way to winning the belt.
Right.
Two, I'm going to be honest, that character sounds really similar to the character Charlotte Flair has been playing since 2014, doesn't it?
Does to me, but maybe I don't have the insight of wrestle votes or
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
whichever. Yeah.
I just like, I mean, other than that 2 months where they were trying to transfer Becky's heat to her, so she started wearing leather jackets all the time.
Yeah.
She's pretty much that's her. She wears her dad's robe and goes woo and
Yeah.
does her dad's moves and
Yeah.
wins the belt all the time. Like I don't like all of that sounds like pretty standard fare. But hey, she's been off TV for 9 months or whatever, maybe longer than that. So it won't be not nice to see her, I guess. I just don't know like long term how Charlotte coming back, kind of just doing the same thing she's done for over a decade. She's you get old in TV years before you're actually old in real life sometimes.
So I've heard. Yeah. What do you know about that? Charlotte, Charlotte Flair.
You want to
Problem
do your,
is,
want to do your thing about how you respect her and like her as a person.
no, that's okay. I have I have a spiel I accidentally go into anytime Charlotte Flair comes up. That for some reason I always use the same verbiage, and it's always borderline. You could view it as creepy or not creepy, depending on whether or not you know me or not.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that today.
All right.
Just don't think Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton sounds like a really bad match to me for both of them. I don't think either one is going to go out of their way to make the other one look good. I don't think Tiffany knows how. It's not a knock on her. I think she's fantastic, but I don't think she necessarily knows how to make Charlotte look good.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Where did Rick end up coming down on Vern in history? On Vern Gagne?
Liking him, you mean?
I
Or
mean, like
like,
yeah, like obviously Vern like broke him into the business and everything, but did they end up friends at the end, or
I
was
don't
he one of the promoters who wronged Rick at some point?
I don't actually know all that much. He
Okay,
didn't like go back and work there a lot because
right, because Vern
they
kind of
never
pulled himself out of
the NWA.
right.
Right. So I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Like he never really talks about him.
It's interesting. That might be like the one of the only things I would be interested in hearing Ric Flair's opinions on.
And what do you think of Vern Gagne?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Gagneys. Like, does he keep in touch with Greg?
Yeah.
I asked this, of course. I think people know this. Greg Gagne trained Tiffany Stratton weirdly, so
Yeah.
anytime I get to talk about the AWA, but I was just thinking about that. I was like, I wonder if there's like a Gagne Flair family. I don't know why I keep saying Gagne. I just think it's funny to say it that way.
Yeah.
Gagne Flair family beef that needs to be settled here. That could be with Tiffy as the one true heir to the Gagne throne. the throne of Minneapolis
It is,
against Flair.
yeah, it is absolutely amazing that Greg Gagne's prize has one prize people. He's trained one person in 45 years in the business, and it's Tiffany Stratton.
Mhm.
It's amazing. All right. Well, I guess the other thing here is Becky Lynch showing up.
Oh, yeah, right. I
Pe-
guess.
People
Like,
think she's coming back to wrestle Lyra Valkyria for the Intercontinental title, and I haven't heard one way or the other. All last thing I heard from I don't want to do an Ebu here. I don't talk to Becky. I am friendly with people who are friendly with her.
sure,
And the only thing I told somebody told me in December, she's not coming back for the Raw on Netflix.
correct.
So that proved to be correct. So I haven't asked or been told anything since then. So I don't know. Maybe she'll show up, but also I think maybe she is smart enough not to show up on the same night Charlotte Flair showing up for the first time in a year.
Little bit of a Rock and Austin thing. Steve doesn't like to go on shows when Rock's there.
Yeah, and I think she's very smart about that. So I think maybe we get her later. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
again, you have a million shows, a million TVs. She could be on Raw the night after. She could be on, and it like honestly, it's just like that. When you say like, doesn't that sound like when they wanted Punk to work Daniel Bryan at like the 2011 WrestleMania, and he's just like, with all due respect, no, I'm not gonna do that.
I don't remember that.
That's how he tells the story on his DVD. I think it's the Mania where he ends up working Orton,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
The Georgia WrestleMania with the maybe I don't know. Is Miz Cena the worst WrestleMania main event of all time? There's probably been a worse one, um, but it's up
It,
there.
it's top five for sure. Yeah,
But anyway, he leading up to that Mania, he said they wanted him to work with Daniel Bryan for the U.S. title, and he said no.
I see.
But yeah, I like Becky coming back after not, what April was that when she dropped the belt to Liv and pieced out? But
It was like maybe maybe May or June. She stayed around a
okay,
little longer.
so
Yeah.
it's like you come back and you're gonna wrestle Lyra Val. I know that's like a pet project of hers,
Yes.
but like, come on, we gotta like. But then again, who else is there? She's gonna wrestle the big sticky giant Naya, or I mean, I was gonna say her and Bailey have never had a high profile singles match, but I always say this, and then I remembered Becky feuded with Damage Control for like a year straight. I just don't remember any of the matches.
Well, yeah. How could you? I mean, there wasn't a whole lot there. Men's Royal Rumble seems. Here's the list of on Wikipedia. LA Knight. I disagree. I don't think LA. I think that the citation for that too, by the way, is something Wade Keller wrote in a report as a throwaway when he was half paying attention. So
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think that's accurate. Anyway, people that I know for sure are in the Rumble: John Cena, CM Punk, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Logan Paul, Penta, Chad Gable, Braun Breaker, and then Carmelo Hayes in a skit after Raw went off the air with Cody Rhodes that said he was in it. I don't recognize that either. But so your top choices here would seem to be Cena, Punk, Roman, and then we have some guys kind of in the second tier there with like Drew, Seth, Sammy, and the Yeet Man, where they'll probably do some stuff that sets up their stuff. But what do you think as far as a winner here? Punk, Cena, Reigns, those seem to be the big three choices, I think.
Yeah, I think because of what we talked about earlier, I don't think Big Match John is winning this. I think they're gonna do that thing they've done like the last six times Cena has been on a
Ugh.
Mania where they pretend he doesn't have like I have no path. I have no match at WrestleMania. How am I going to get a match at WrestleMania? How can I, John Cena, possibly find a match at WrestleMania if I can't wrestle for the title?
He's
Um,
gonna bring up that he hasn't won a singles match in 12 years or whatever, and
correct.
it's like, buddy, I wouldn't. Nobody, none of us would remember that. We're
Right.
just happy to see you.
Seems like you're seems like you're pointing that out to sabotage the current regime because you loved the old guy. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
anyway, I'm sure he and Paul get along great. Everyone gets along great. Cody and Punk get along great. Cena and Punk get along great. Punk and Paul get along great. Cena and Paul get along great. Um, anyway, yeah. So if I'll take Cena out and I'll say it's between Punk and Roman. What is Roman doing at WrestleMania?
I think he's wrestling Punk.
Okay, so
I
I mean,
I
Punk.
I
I
I don't
guess.
know that.
I guess in that case, it feels like it has to be Roman wins the Rumble, and then Punk wins Gunther's belt between now and Mania to set that up.
Could could be.
But then I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of clips of Roman talking about how that belt is trash and not the real belt. Not that hypocrisy has ever stopped them from just deciding to tell a new story, but
Sure.
um, I'm like
Well, we
Roman
could.
going for the fake world title would be pretty lame. But also, I don't know how else you get to that. If I'm eliminating Cena, I don't really see who else is left. So, I mean, maybe
All
that's
right.
your argument for why it would be Cena.
So what about this? So Cena doesn't. I think you're right. Cena doesn't win because we can tell another month of stories and have him put him in the chamber and win the chamber. So we don't need to do that. Punk and Reigns are wrestling each other. I don't necessarily think that needs a title, and so I don't think either one needs to win this match. Um, yeah, because they do have the storyline thing where Heyman owes Punk a favor.
True.
Um, and that could be Punk saying, Roman, put your Royal Rumble shot on hold, and you're gonna wrestle me instead. And you can wrestle for Cody whenever. I don't know. Uh, regardless, you could do something really silly like have Seth freaking Rollins or Sami Zayn win the Rumble here, and then have them go wrestle Gunther.
The Del
Uh,
Rio Edge Rumble winner.
Memorial, yeah, the title match that opens night one of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, just trying to think of things that they would do. And
Right.
it's like, well, CM Punk's pretty damn hot. What? Isolate that. But also CM Punk and Gunther doesn't like really seem like a WrestleMania match to me. I don't know.
Right. Which to me is like, which brings me back to the idea of Roman winning and then Punk beating Gunther and somehow like baiting Roman into using the title shot on him instead of Cody.
Could be.
They did. I mean, for the love of the game, I guess they did do a promo between Punk and Cody to try to make you think that could be a direction, but that doesn't feel like something that just doesn't make sense to me that they would go that route. So, um, yeah, I mean, if those are your three top, best chances to win guys, I feel like maybe I would just go Roman and yeah, I don't know what else you do at that point, but yeah, because then as you pointed out, who's left? It's Sammy or Seth or Drew or Damian
Logan
Priest,
Paul. Yeah.
Road Dog Uso,
Yeah. The roadie.
Roadie Jey Uso. Um, hey, the Road Dog was very over during the Attitude Era.
So is the Eat Man.
There's
What do you know about
nothing
that?
nothing wrong with being a very over opening match act. Okay, doesn't mean you need to be the world champion.
Well, that's Royal Rumble. That's coming up this Saturday. I'd like to remind everyone that you can participate in the Cheesecake Rumble, which is where you go to the store and you buy two frozen Mrs. Fields frozen cheesecakes, and you thaw them out and you put them on a table in time for the start of the Rumble. Then every time a new entrant enters the Rumble match, you have a bite of cheesecake. Every time someone is eliminated, you have a half a slice of cheesecake, and then if your pick wins or eliminates, you eat an entire slice of cheesecake. And yeah, so you'll have a lot of cheesecake in your belly by the end of the Royal Rumble.
It's it is by far the best idea related to any kind of like, it's like it's a sober way to do
Yes,
like a drinking game.
yes.
So many applications for it, but none better than the cheesecake rumble. It's the best activity one could possibly complete while watching the Royal Rumble, and you get two.
Yeah, but
So you got to ration it though.
yeah, I don't know why you're gonna get two of them.
We got two rumbles.
Oh yeah, you could get in trouble. You could get. That's right. You could. Well, that's why you need two cheesecakes, I guess. But yeah, there you go. Um, I don't know. I don't know, man. People are like that's weird. It's like, yeah, I know it's weird. It's a bit that was born on a message board 15 years ago.
And a good one.
Anything you want to chat about? Anything you want to chat about from AEW before we get out of here? They had a pretty blasé week of Dynamite.
Sure did.
I thought the Death
Yeah.
Rider still run over every show. Everybody loved the Tony Storm thing on Collision.
Yes. That was great. They did recap it on Dynamite since 250,000 people watched that collision. Um, yeah, it's going to be a broken record. It's a cold product. My one note I did have that I thought was very humorous was apparently they did like a 20-minute Renee Paquette interviews her husband John Moxley YouTube thing this week,
Yeah.
where he's trying to, I guess, convince people that the storyline doesn't suck ass. So he's going to do like
Yes.
a long form interview to explain what the storyline is. And
Correct.
the portion of that they chose to play on Dynamite was like 35 seconds where he explains why he's keeping the belt in a briefcase.
Yes.
And I thought that was really funny. Like of all of like it's 20 minutes long of all the salient points and expounding on explaining this intricate lore of the Death Riders, they chose to explain why he keeps the belt in a briefcase. And I think that's wonderful. Because like if you're wondering what criticisms
So,
get to them and which ones they're like ignoring or pretending aren't there, it's that why is he keeping the belt in the briefcase? That one bothered them more than some of the other ones, which I think is really funny.
I mean, there's a million problems with the storyline.
Well, that's kind of
However,
my
I haven't
point.
seen the AW belt on TV, and I understand that. Just saying, to me, I haven't seen the AW belt on TV in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty big to me.
Okay,
I don't know.
that's fair. Yeah, and that is like, yeah. So that's the rhythm of the shows currently is baby faces get minor wins on Collision and then get immediately stomped out again on the following Dynamite. So yeah, it's a dull show. Um Someone brought up the comparison of the main event Mafia in TNA with all the old guys who
Yeah.
are just running roughshod and winning all the time with the claim that, well, they're the bigger stars and they're bigger TV stars, so you have to push these guys. Um, well, we all know how that turned out. Brought in the biggest wrestling TV
I,
star of all time, in
I
fact,
just
a year later, and they're not on a network anyone cares about anymore.
I just don't understand why MJF's wrestling Jeff Jarrett. Like I thought that, they were doing the old timer story with Jeff.
Mhm.
The last outlaw goes for the title one last time. Okay, fine. And maybe he comes up short, and that's the story you want to tell. Fine. I'm not advocating for Jeff Jarrett to win the AEW World Title, but I don't know why I don't know why. Well, I mean, at least I would see the belt on TV.
There you go.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. He's a million years old, and it's plucky babyface Jeff Jarrett against MJF. Nobody benefits from that. Jeff doesn't benefit from working with MJF. MJF doesn't benefit from working with Jeff.
I
Jay
think,
White wants the world championship. I
yeah.
guess I don't know.
As far as the Jeff and MJF thing, The only thing I wouldn't call this a defense. I think they're setting up that the Hanger is going to make amends for his past evil ways, and so
Hmm.
he's made peace with Chris Daniels, who he murdered, and
Yeah.
then he was looking this week, looking around for Swerve on TV, and I think eventually, and he keeps having like stare downs in the aisle and in the back with MJF. So eventually,
Yeah.
MJF's going to be beating Jeff Jarrett down, and the Hangman is going to come out to valiantly save his former rival, Jeff Jarrett. And that will set us on the path for one, a feud that they surprisingly have never really touched, which is Hangman versus MJF, and two, the path to Hangman being a babyface again, which he should be. But yeah, in the meantime, we have to watch MJF and Jeff Jarrett do promos with each other every week, and that's mostly been bad. So yeah, it's
I,
not great.
I'd just like to interject that I don't remember that Hangman Page and Jeff Jarrett ever feuded. And two, people turn on a whim on this show every single week. I don't know why we need a long arc to Hangman being a babyface again. He could just be a babyface tomorrow.
I think
I
it's
don't know. That would be
Hangman
my counter.
cares more about his character than some people do.
Oh, that's fine. He's to be commended for that. I'm just saying, totally, with the rest of the show, it doesn't matter.
Sure. No, that's a fair point. Yeah, but I'm that's the only explanation I can make. I think yeah, Hangman that was during the Owen Hart tournament last year. And
Right. I
Jeff
vaguely
was the
remember this
referee
now.
in the finals, and Hangman accused him of costing him the match.
Right. Rings a bell now that you bring it up. It's been 7 months. Like, what are we doing?
Like I
You
said,
know?
we're still in the early stages here. Like because
Okay.
again, I think Hangman likes to tell his stories. To your point, not which doesn't necessarily jive with how they do things on this sort of car crash, vaguely 1999 WCW Attitude Era style television that we have right now. Um, 99, not even Funny Russo, 1999. Like Nash and Kevin
No.
Sullivan booked 1999 WCW.
Yeah.
Um, I don't necessarily know that Hangman trying to do like subtle and long term stuff works on a show, to your point. But I think that's why it's like once Hangman comes out to make the save, they'll bring up the past history up. But for now, it's simmering for the Hangman.
Okay. I can buy that, and I will allow that, and that's cool. Um, yeah. I yeah. I just
Anyway,
don't
it's a
think.
bad show. To get back to our main point.
You know who's really bad on this show? Tony Schiavone. He's a very nice man who has been very bad at being a pro wrestling commentator for over 40 years now. And he's the lead guy on Saturdays,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the number two or number three guy on Wednesdays, and is wildly ineffective in any role that's not standing in the ring and holding the stick for someone else to speak into.
Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't just do Excalibur and Taz on Wednesdays, and if you want to keep Tony on Saturdays with Nigel, I guess that's fine. But
I,
um,
I think he's much better on Saturdays. I still don't think he's good, but I think he's much better on Saturdays
that's fair.
as just the guy calling moves.
Yeah, I think that is a better. Yeah, he never like he and Taz kind of do it. Like Taz is kind of a heel commentator,
Hmm.
so they kind of do like they're trying to kind of do like a Gorilla and Bobby thing,
Hmm.
or a whoever the WCW equivalent of that was. Uh,
Tony and Bobby.
yeah, but oh, right, Bobby was also there for several years.
Yeah.
But they don't really one like well, and this was a point that was raised when Jesse the Body Ventura was on commentary on Saturday Night's Main Event, which is that heel commentators don't really go in on baby faces the way they they did in
Yes.
Jesse's era, where they like
Correct.
call them stupid
Yes.
and really insult them and constantly make excuses and lie and pretend they're not seeing the heels cheat and things like that.
Question the integrity of the baby faces.
Right. That doesn't really exist anymore. So because
Mm-hmm.
Taz doesn't do that, it ends up most of the time just being him and Shivani like making each other giggle
Yes.
sort of half-heartedly. It's like Taz half-heartedly sticks up for a heel and Tony kind of half-heartedly sticks up for the baby faces, but not in a way that's compelling or that adds to the emotion they are theoretically trying to make you feel when you are watching whatever is going on in the ring.
They're verbally playing grab ass.
Yes.
They're snapping towels at one another in the locker room.
I bet it would be a hoot to be like at the hotel bar with Taz and Tony after a show.
1,000,000%.
That would be a great hang. I fully believe that. But them on live national television calling a wrestling show and doing the job an announcer in pro wrestling is theoretically supposed to be doing. Nah, not very good at it.
Here's another thing I don't understand, and we're on year 6 now. When it started, Excalibur was the play-by-play guy. JR thought he was the play-by-play guy, but JR was the color guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shivani was there to do things like read. Fans, don't forget, coming up, we still have Timeless Tony Storm's going to speak later on in the program here. Or fans, don't forget, go to shopaew.com. We have a new limited edition, yada, yada, yada. That's how it was when it started.
Mm-hmm.
But now Excalibur is just reading all of those ads and those billboard things too while he's calling his own matches. And Shivani and Taz are like pinching each other's keisters,
Yes, they have given Excalibur the Michael Cole role. He calls all the moves, kind of does his own color, and
Yes.
and reads all the ads.
Yes.
And the other guys are just hanging out, just making each other laugh.
Like, as you pointed out, it's kind of entertaining in and of itself, and it would be super at the hotel bar after the show. I just like it's very counterproductive to what you're trying to do, which is like get stories across.
Yeah, I think it's tough for me because they are like at worst they're like let's see. No, let's say Wade and Joe Tessitore are probably the best American announcers going today.
Probably. I mean, if you want to say Riccaboni's better than Joe, I mean that's a matter of taste.
Yeah. Ian and Caprice are good, although again, I don't consume Ring of Honor, so I don't ever hear them. I hear Ian when he is subbed in on the Dynamite or a Collision here or there. But anyway, but yeah, I would like as far as a regular team, sure, we can give it to Joe and Wade. And then I think I just hate the Michael Cole and Pat McAfee team so much that like even though I know the Dynamite team is no good, they're so much further down the list. Like I can't like Pat McAfee as a color guy I just don't think he's good. I don't think he's effective at it. And like again, it's nice that Michael Cole has made a friend and that he seems to be really delighted when Pat McAfee is out there with him, and they seem to have a lot of fun. It's like watching Ocean's 13. I'm sure everyone involved had a really good time making this. I don't think the product that I'm listening to and watching is any good.
That's more than fair and a wonderful analogy. I can't top that. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, I think we go out on a high note this week.
All right. Thanks. All right, pal. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Enjoy the Royal Rumble, everyone. Enjoy the Cheesecake Rumble. We didn't really talk surprises for the Rumble because really, how many could there be? Also, Triple H's only friends. Shawn, Triple H, or Shawn, Undertaker, and his
himself.
Wife.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
His wife.
His four friends. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and Stephanie McMahon put him in the Hall of Fame. So
for the second time.
Yeah. Everybody's just lining up to kiss the ring. It's I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So all that's happening. Enjoy that this weekend. Till next time, evening.
I'm Liam.
We'll be back soon with more stories from the wrestling life.
Adios.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Now, here are this week's bonus features.
Well, would you like to take a victory lap on Justin Tucker?
It feels a little uh I don't feel like I can really claim a victory because I would have never been bold enough. He didn't give me alleged sex pest vibes.
Okay.
He gave me like smarmy guy who loves the smell of his own farts vibes.
All
Uh,
right.
so, you know, but I wasn't sad other than, for the people that were potentially allegedly victimized. I was sad for them having to deal with that. I it is DEFCON 1 for Baltimore Facebook moms, though. Let me tell you.
Oh, I bet. I mean, they all wanted to, you know,
Well, he's a bit more safe. There's just something they trust a little bit more about him than maybe some of
he
the other Ravens players.
he's also he portrayed himself as a family guy.
Mm-hmm. Good,
Very Catholic.
good Catholic boy. Yep.
Yep.
Which maybe should have been the first sign. Yeah, it's a really messed up and very detailed story.
Yep.
Uh,
His response, Tucker's investigated or alleged to have done bad things with his penis to six different massage therapists
mm-hmm,
between 2012-ish and 2016-ish. 2012, his first year in the NFL, by the way,
mm-hmm.
as an undrafted rookie free agent out of University of Texas. Um, Problem I'm having, and he issued a pretty unequivocal denial.
Sure.
The problem I have is that first of all, it's six allegations, and they're all pretty shockingly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And two, um, two local high-end wellness centers slash spas claim in this story they banned him for his behavior, which
Correct.
he denies. Feels like that would be pretty easy to confirm or deny whether or not you've been banned from a day spa. How many day spas have you been banned from?
Zero, to my knowledge.
Yeah, so
I mean, I suppose there could be some we don't know about, but yeah, I think I'm batting 1,000 on being allowed in day spas at the moment.
or real anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been banned from anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think anywhere has ever gone up to you and be like, "Hey, man, you've done too many bad things with your penis here. We're not going to allow you in anymore."
I can confirm. I can confirm that's never happened to me, and certainly not multiple places.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that's the part of the story where it makes me like, "Well, okay, we should probably just go ahead and put him in a burlap sack and throw him in the river."
yeah, if you're a superstar quarterback, you might be able to get away with doing that, or being
Mm,
alleged to have done that, I should say.
mm, mm.
But I don't know if a kicker coming off his worst career season will be as fortunate to have his team and the league back him up.
So this was year 14, I think 13, 14, something like that of his career. Mid to late 30s now, lowest field goal percentage of his career. Um, a cynic or a skeptic would say, maybe the team has known something about this
Mm-hmm.
when he was the undisputed greatest kicker of all time and was going to the Hall of Fame for the first 12 years of his career. And now that maybe they see a path forward without him, I don't know. If you're everything's a conspiracy theorist when you're dumb, and I'm pretty dumb, but also the timing is pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. My other note to maybe add fuel to that was within the article, it says that Tucker's attorney directed the Baltimore Banner, who broke the story, to contact the team so that
Yep.
they could interview team masseuses and that the Ravens could help set up those interviews. And the team did not get involved. They said, nope, we're not getting involved. And I guess the Banner was still able to make contact with some of them.
Mm-hmm.
They spoke to some who said he was professional, but it was like, wow, the team is just like, nope. So it's like if they thought he was innocent, I think they would be doing everything they could to facilitate, even if they just think it's a black mark on the public image and not a cuttable offense. But this is the same organization that was very, very happy to keep Ray Rice on this team until video of him knocking his wife out leaked to the press. So,
Yep. Yep.
but to your point, Ray Rice was also still a very good football player when he was cut. So,
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, he got his second contract. They paid a running back second contract. You should never do that, unless you say Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry.
right.
But I'm not gonna. Your point is not that he was is not about the football. Yeah.
No. But a
Yeah.
running back, again, maybe gets away with things. A running back and a quarterback get away with things that maybe a kicker who is towards the latter half of his career does not get away with.
I think your point is correct, except that this is the kicker that's on all the commercials. At the time he was arrested, or the time that he was cut, rather, I don't think he was ever arrested for the incident, actually. Ray Rice was the M&T Bank spokesman in town. And after that, they went to using Joe Flacco, and then they just went to using like the coach and the general manager.
Right.
Right. It's like our quarterback doesn't do a lot of endorsements for whatever reason. And so Tucker's like he's the local convenience store spokesman. And you can't go a commercial break during a football game without seeing Justin Tucker's face here. Or at least you couldn't for the last, 8 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So we'll see.
Yep. Yep. Well, I would like to just thank you for being gracious when really you could have just danced on my grave here.
I could have spiked it.
Yeah. Because for a long time you've been like, ugh, that Justin Tucker. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
He's the nicest man.
He's a good Catholic, good family man. He's Catholic. He sings opera at the Christmas Eve Mass.
I'm confident in saying he's never done anything wrong with his penis.
Right?
Yeah. No, like I said, I feel like I can't take I'll take a partial credit, a partial dub.
Sure.
I'll take the Orange Cassidy thumbs up for this because yeah, I have been vocal in my mistrust of his wholesome public image.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I thought he's probably just an asshole. Like I didn't think he was a alleged sex pest. So that's like I don't feel like I could take full credit, but sure, I will accept the dub somewhat in a gracious manner.
Look, if my first of all, I wouldn't marry someone that would have an OnlyFans. Okay. Secondly, if my wife had my wife had an OnlyFans, how do you live with? How do you? I don't know.
So look, I could, if you are not a famous person,
right,
and you can go from like barely scraping by to living really comfortably and like buying a house, I can see why that path could be enticing to people.
Sure.
But both of these, like he played in the NFL and seems to have saved his money based on the fact that he has not done anything since being fired by WWE the second time. She was on worldwide television and traveled the world with the World Wrestling Federation for the better part of a decade, and you'd think would be able to get plenty of those Instagram hashtag ads, sponsorships, and whatever, and could go wrestle in TNA or wherever she wanted to. So it's like that her choosing to do it is fascinating. Now I know it sprung up at a time where they were like, you can't have a Twitch channel and you can't sell stuff on your Instagram,
right?
And so she was like, well, this is the one thing that's not explicitly banned in our new agreements or whatever, so I'm going to do that. But then she kept doing it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
If I was already rich, would I do it? Probably not. But, you know. Also,
well,
if you could make that much money taking photos of yourselves in bikinis, aren't you leaving a lot of cash on the table to not do that?
I guess that's fair. And like I've never subscribed. I don't know how far she's going over there. You know what I mean?
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right in. That's our action item for the week.
hang on, I'm gonna send Albert a message.
Albert, what did you think?
You know,
He blew the whistle.
yes, he did. Heartbreak, I see a pecker in this photo. I see Tino's pecker out of the corner of my eye. Unbelievable. What? All right.
Just thinking about Albert checking that OnlyFans, and then he turns off the computer and he's just looking at his own reflection in the dark laptop screen.
Yes.
After he just looked at Tino Sabatelli's junk.
Yeah.
It's like, well, time to call Sean.
Yep. Heartbreak. See a tree. Got a situation. There's Pecker. There's Pecker. Heartbreak. I mean, is there anything funnier than calling a 60-year-old man heartbreak?
It's pretty good.
But also, it helps too that Albert A Train looks like a South Park drawing as well. So, like for the shot of the shot of him looking at his reflection in the computer monitor, I just pictured South Park doing that because
his head's kind of shaped like the green hills in the background of Mario.
Yes.
like it's like a perfect oval.
Yes, good call.
Just that face staring back at itself in a black laptop mirror and then slowly picking up the phone to dial Heartbreak.
Yeah, it's a cordless phone for some reason. It's not a cell phone. It's a cordless landline.
But he was on the phone with Verizon setting up internet when he moved to Orlando, and he is just like he couldn't get off the phone, and they're just like, all right, we're gonna add in home phone and cable services as well. And he's like, fine. Like he just does it. So he's like, well, I gotta use it. I'm paying for it.
Exactly. Yes. This is tremendous. I mean, I'd rather riff on this for an hour than talk about it.
Us riffing on Albert's Orlando pad
apartment. Yeah. His wife didn't move with him.
No.
She wasn't. It's like, look, we don't have to get a divorce, but I'm staying in Bloomington. All right.
Oh man.
I try to keep on keeping on.